Hi, my name is Madison Schraft. I'm a student at Brigham Young University in the Special Education Department. This is a presentation on a project for my CPSC 410 Applied Behavioral Analysis class. It's a functional behavior assessment or a behavioral intervention plan. So for the project, we were to pick a child in a classroom that had a problem behavior, evaluate and observe the problem behavior, and come up with an intervention to do with the child to help the behavior. So the child that we had, her name was Andrea. She was in 4th grade, diagnosed with Down syndrome, and all day she was in a special education classroom full of students that had problem behaviors that caused problems in the regular classrooms. Andrea's problem behavior that we observed was loud, inappropriate verbal outbursts, such as yelling, and clapping, similar to cheering. In the interview with Andrea's teacher, she said that the problem behavior occurs while in group settings or activities, such as when all the students are receiving instruction from the teacher at one time. She also said the behavior does not occur when the student is working alone, such as during computer time. And she said when talking to the parents about the problem behavior, they said that it does not occur at home. So after doing an ABC observation data, we observed that 90% of the time the behavior did not have an antecedent, such as being told what to do or taken something away, etc. 10% of the time of the trials, Andrea was given instruction to do something, and that is when the problem behavior occurred. And 100% of the time, the behavior was not reinforced by any of the teachers or classmates or anything that we could observe and measure. So our functional behavior assessment hypothesis, what we think the function of the behavior is self-stimulation. We believe that during those group activities when the teacher may be talking to another student or Andrea may not be engaged in the activity or what they're doing very much, she does this problem behavior of yelling and cheering to receive self-stimulation for herself, so to give her that engagement that she needs. The objective that we came up with to help our intervention is when sitting with a group of students receiving instruction from the teacher, Andrea will have no loud outbursts of yelling or cheering and hold the ball in her hands 3 out of 3 trials in 10-minute intervals with at least 80% accuracy with 2 different teachers. So that's the intervention. The replacement behavior that we want to use for Andrea is for her to hold a ball in her hands. So during those group activities and settings when she's not being engaged as much and not receiving that stimulation, she can have the ball in her hands to refer to receive that stimulation. The following is an intervention video. It is not particularly the replacement behavior for this presentation, but it is shown here to show how an intervention might work. Observe a classroom setting of a group of students sitting together receiving instruction from the teacher. All the students are sitting in their chairs quiet and keeping their hands to themselves. Now observe that there is a student out of their seat. This is not appropriate behavior. Notice here that there are students talking and being loud when it is not appropriate. Observe in this scene that students are not keeping their hands to themselves and they are touching other students when it is not appropriate to. Three important behaviors that need to be followed in group settings are being quiet, sitting in seat, and keeping hands to oneself. Let's observe correct examples of these behaviors. This student is quiet and listening to the teacher. This student is sitting appropriately in their seat and keeping their hands to themselves. When all students are following the appropriate behaviors in group settings, teaching and learning can be more successful. So as you can see, that intervention, the replacement behavior of being quiet, looking at the teacher, and sitting in the seat was not the replacement behavior we used. We used the ball for the self-stimulation. The results of our intervention here are shown. The blue line is the baseline data that we observed before the intervention, and then the green line is what we observed after the intervention for when Andrea did have the ball in her hands. And that is the end. Thank you for watching my presentation on my functional behavior assessment. The following are the credits for the pictures and the people and the programs used in this presentation.